Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into the often misunderstood world of autism in adults. You've shared a really intriguing article with us. It focuses on recognizing the signs, and I have to say, this is one of those topics where the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
It's true, and it's so important to talk about this. We often associate autism with childhood diagnosis, but recognizing the signs in adults is crucial for providing the right support and understanding at any age.
Right. And as the article points out, this isn't about self-diagnosing, but about spotting potential signs.
Hmm.
And maybe, just maybe, breaking down some stereotypes along the way. So the article jumps right into what it calls the main signs to look out for, but I feel like sometimes this list can feel a bit clinical.
I completely agree. It's important to remember that these signs manifest in real life, everyday experiences.
Exactly. So for example, the article mentions difficulty understanding emotions, and honestly, who hasn't felt a little lost in a social situation at some point?
Right.
But for someone with autism, those feelings can be amplified. Imagine trying to navigate a conversation where everyone seems to instinctively understand the unspoken rules, the emotional cues, except you. It's like everyone else is speaking a language you're still trying to grasp.
That's a great way to put it. And to dig a little deeper, research suggests that this difficulty often stems from differences in how the brain processes social information, particularly in areas like the amygdala, which plays a key role in processing emotions. So it's not about a lack of empathy or caring, but a different way of perceiving and interpreting social cues.
Which makes me think about the next sign the article highlights: social anxiety. We all feel nervous in certain situations, but for someone with autism, those everyday interactions can feel completely overwhelming, almost like being under a spotlight.
Absolutely. And when you consider the effort it takes to constantly try to decode those unspoken social rules, to predict reactions and respond in a way that's considered neurotypical, well, it's no wonder social situations can feel so draining.
Right, and it makes building friendships something else the article mentions so much more complex. It's like that old saying, it's not you, it's me. But in this case, it really isn't about wanting connection, but facing genuine challenges in navigating the dance of social interaction.
Exactly. And for many autistic individuals, that dance comes with a different set of steps, a different rhythm.
Which leads us to another sign the article brings up: unintentional bluntness. And hey, we all put our foot in our mouths sometimes, but for someone with autism, it might be less about a quirky personality and more about taking language very literally.
That's right. Think about sarcasm, idioms, even humor. They often rely on understanding implied meaning, which can be tricky for someone who processes language more concretely. What might seem like bluntness is often an attempt to communicate honestly and directly.
It's like everyone else is playing this game with all these hidden rules and unspoken cues, and for someone with autism, it's like, can we just simplify things and say what we mean?
Exactly. And that's why understanding and awareness are so crucial.
Okay, so we've been talking about how these main signs might show up, but the article also touches on some other, maybe less obvious ways that autism can manifest, especially when it comes to sensory experiences.
And this is where things get really interesting because we start to see how much variation there is within the autism spectrum. For some individuals, sensory input can be almost overwhelming.
Right. The article uses the example of avoiding eye contact and how easy it is to misinterpret that as disinterest or even rudeness. But sometimes it's actually a way of managing that sensory overload. When I read that, I was like, wow, I've totally misread situations like that before.
It's a perfect example of why understanding the sensory dimension of autism is so important. What might seem like a simple social cue like eye contact can actually involve a whole cascade of sensory information that's processed differently in someone with autism. And it's not just about avoiding unpleasant sensations, it's about seeking out sensory input that's regulating and enjoyable.
Which makes me think about those intense interests that are often associated with autism. The article talks about how these passions might seem niche to others, but they represent a unique way of engaging with the world.
And those interests can be incredibly powerful. It's that deep focus, that ability to hyper-focus on a particular topic that often leads to incredible expertise and creativity. We see this time and again, where autistic individuals become true innovators in their areas of passion, whether it's art, music, science, or any other field.
It's like that saying, find something you love and let it consume you.
Exactly. Now, speaking of different ways that autism can present, we have to talk specifically about autistic women because the article really highlights some crucial points about how their experiences are often overlooked.
Absolutely. This feels especially important for anyone trying to understand the women in their lives. Because for far too long, autism was diagnosed and understood through a very narrow, often male-centric lens.
Right. And this led to countless women being misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed, their struggles dismissed as something else entirely.
The article mentions this concept of masking, which really struck a chord with me. It's that exhausting effort of trying to hide autistic traits to fit in, to blend in with what's considered neurotypical. It's like putting on a performance every single day.
And it's vital to remember that masking isn't always a conscious choice. For many women, it's a learned response to societal pressures, a way to avoid judgment or stigma. They may have internalized the message that their authentic selves are somehow not acceptable.
Which is heartbreaking because it means someone could be struggling silently, even if they seem to be managing social situations outwardly.
Absolutely. And this internal struggle can have a profound impact on mental health, leading to anxiety, depression, and a sense of never truly belonging.
The article also points out that autistic women might exhibit quieter behaviors, they might be less outwardly emotional, and they may even engage in fewer repetitive behaviors, which are often what people stereotypically associate with autism.
And this is why awareness is so crucial. If we only look for those stereotypical signs, we're going to miss a huge part of the autistic population, particularly women who have become adept at camouflaging their struggles.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle, but only looking for the pieces that fit a preconceived image. We need to be open to the fact that the pieces might look different, but they're just as important for completing the picture.
Exactly. And when we expand our understanding of how autism can manifest, we create space for more accurate diagnoses, more effective support, and ultimately a more inclusive society where everyone feels seen and valued for who they truly are.
It's like we've been talking about autism in black and white for all these years, and now we're finally starting to see the full spectrum of colors.
That's such a powerful image, and it speaks to the importance of recognizing neurodiversity, not just as a concept, but as a lived reality for millions of people. It's about understanding that there are many ways of experiencing the world, many ways of thinking, feeling, and interacting, and those differences are something to be celebrated, not feared or misunderstood.
Absolutely. So for someone listening to this, someone who's thinking, okay, this resonates, maybe I see myself or someone I love in these signs, what's next? What advice would you offer?
That's a great question. And it's where that distinction between identification and diagnosis becomes really crucial. This article and our conversation today can be a starting point, a way to raise awareness and spark those aha moments. But it's not a substitute for professional evaluation.
Right. This isn't about putting a label on anyone, but about opening doors to understanding and support if it's needed.
Yeah. Exactly. If something has resonated deeply, it might be worth exploring further. Talk to a healthcare professional who specializes in autism spectrum disorder. They can provide guidance, resources, and potentially even connect you with support groups or communities.
Because finding that sense of community, that feeling of belonging, can make all the difference.
It truly can. It's about finding your people, those who get you, those who celebrate your neurodiversity. Remember, seeking a diagnosis in adulthood isn't about fixing something that's wrong. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of yourself, accessing support, and connecting with others who share similar experiences.
And that's something we all deserve, to feel seen, heard, and understood for who we truly are.
Beautifully said. And remember, this deep dive is just one step on a lifelong journey of learning and discovery. There's so much more to explore, so much more to understand about the beautiful tapestry of human experience. So keep asking questions, keep listening with an open mind, and keep embracing the incredible diversity that surrounds us.
I love that. Keep asking questions, keep listening. What a perfect note to end on. This has been an incredible deep dive, and I hope everyone listening feels as inspired as I do to learn more, to be more understanding, and to embrace the full spectrum of what it means to be human. Thanks for joining us.